Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel BNB. Update 20, for I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Next week in the bold and the drama explodes with no warning, no mercy, and no turning back as the long-anticipated DNA test results finally come in, setting off a cascade of revelations that threaten to tear families apart, alter relationships forever, and redefine what it means to belong in the ever-turbulent world of the Forresters, Logans, and extended LA elite. As the week kicks off, tension blankets the Forrester estate like a dense fog. Hope is pacing nervously in Brooke's kitchen, unable to eat, unable to breathe, clutching her phone like it's the last threat of her sanity. The DNA results that could either stabilize or shatter their world are due any moment, and no one, especially not Carter or Daphne, is prepared for what's about to surface. Meanwhile, Ridge is seen walking alone through the halls of Forrester Creations, lost in thought, riddled with guilt over secrets he's kept and the lies he's told to protect those he loves. He knows something he's known for days that he hasn't yet shared with Brooke, something that could make the upcoming DNA results either irrelevant or utterly catastrophic, depending on how they land. Katie, ever the voice of reason, urges him to tell Brooke everything before it's too late, but Ridge hesitates, worried the truth could destroy what little trust remains between them. And in the midst of this storm, Brooke herself is quietly reclaiming her power, still reeling from the previous week's bombshells, yet steeling herself for whatever comes next. She knows something doesn't add up, especially between Carter and Daphne, and her instincts tell her that the DNA test is about to expose more than just biology. It's going to reveal betrayal, deception, and possibly a family connection that rewrites history. The lab email finally arrives while Carter and Daphne are mid-a-roo at IEL Giordino, their voices low but intense as Daphne pleads with him to accept their growing closeness, while Carter tries to create distance, claiming it's too complicated. When Daphne's phone buzzes and she sees the lab's email notification, her face drains of color. It's here, she whispers, and the world stops. They open it together, silent shock, and then an audible gasp from Daphne as she stares wide-eyed at the undeniable result. Carter and Daphne share a father. They are half siblings. The secret that Daphne suspected but hoped wasn't true is now undeniable. Her growing crush, her pursuit of Carter, the chemistry they couldn't explain at all, now sits under the weight of a horrific, irreversible truth. Carter stumbles backward in disbelief, the paper trembling in his hands as he reads and rereads the test, hoping it's a mistake. But it's not, it's real, and the moment it becomes real, everything changes. Daphne breaks down, sobbing, mortified, not just by the truth, but by the path that almost unfolded. And Carter, stoic, proud Carter, is left devastated, sickened by what could have happened if the test had come any later. He calls Rich first, then Brooke. Within hours, the entire Logan Forrester circle is buzzing with the revelation, trying to trace how this could have possibly happened. Who was the father? How did no one know? The answer slowly emerges like a monster from the shadows. Bill Spencer, a long-buried affair from years ago, a fling that never saw the light of day, now resurrected in the most tragic way possible. Brooke is the first to connect the dots, her mind racing back to conversations she overheard between Bill and an unnamed woman he once referred to as a mistake. She confronts Bill, and he doesn't deny it. He confirms that he had a brief but passionate relationship with Daphne's mother decades ago, not knowing a child came from it, and because Daphne's mother passed away young, the truth was buried. Until now, with the DNA test confirming paternity, Bill is stunned, and his reaction is more complicated than anyone expects. He's angry at being left out of Daphne's life for so long, but also horrified that his son Carter came so close to unknowingly entering a romantic relationship with his half-sister Brooke. Emotional but resolute rallies the family together. "We can't undo the past," she says during a family meeting at the Forrester mansion, "but we can choose to face the future with honesty." And Grace Hope clutches her mother's hand, grateful for her strength, but not everyone is ready to move forward. Daphne locks herself in her room at the guest house, unable to face the others, consumed with shame and confusion. She feels robbed of both a potential romance and a father, both delivered and stolen in the same moment. Carter, meanwhile, plunges into silence, throwing himself into work, avoiding everyone, including Katie, who tries to reach out but gets no response. The emotional aftermath is explosive. Ridge, who always prided himself on protecting the family, blames Bill for the entire situation. "You play with people's lives like they're poker chips," he accuses, while Bill fires back with his own guilt and regret. "I didn't know. You think I'd let this happen if I knew?" The confrontation ends without resolution. Rich turns to Brooke for guidance, only to find she's already moved past finger-pointing and is focused on the future. She encourages Carter to step into his role as Daphne's brother, not as her almost lover, and help her heal from this impossible truth. In a deeply emotional scene, Carter finally visits Daphne at the guest house. There are no romantic sparks anymore, just the quiet devastation of two people trying to redefine what they are to each other. He brings her a box of childhood photos, his own, and says, "You miss the worst parts of me. Maybe now you can see the best." The gesture breaks through her wall, and she hugs him tightly. It's awkward but necessary. A sibling bond begins to form, and while it won't fix everything, it lays the first stone of something real. Meanwhile, Brooke and Ridge, after watching all of this unfold, find themselves reconnecting over shared concern and mutual admiration for the first time in what feels like ages. They're on the same team again. Katie sees this and steps back, knowing that maybe, just maybe, it's Brooke and Ridge's time once again. But there's a complication on the horizon. Taylor is back in town. She returns just as news of the DNA results breaks, and though she missed the initial fallout, she arrives ready to support Steffi and Ridge, unaware that Brooke is already playing that role. Taylor senses the shift immediately and is thrown by it. Her arrival shakes up the calm that had just begun to settle. Brooke knows it too, and just like that, the triangle reignites, not over betrayal or infidelity, but over emotional territory, over shared grief, and over who gets to be Ridge's anchor in the chaos. Ridge, torn yet again, finds himself at the center of two emotional women, both of whom represent different parts of his soul. And just when you think things can't get more complicated, another piece of the DNA story emerges. Daphne's mother wasn't just anyone. She was once a model at Forrester Creations, a woman Ridge had briefly dated in his early 20s. That revelation sends Brooke into a tailspin. "Did you know Ridge?" she demands. Rich swears he didn't, but the timing, the secrecy, and the tangled past create fresh doubt. Brooke retreats once again, questioning everything, and just like that, her emotional walls go back up. The pity party she escaped last week, it might be back for an encore, but even amid the chaos, there are glimmers of hope. Liam's still dealing with his health issues and emotional trauma, finds solace in helping Daphne settle into her new reality. He talks to her about growing up without a father, about learning who you are through struggle. Their unlikely bond surprises everyone, but especially Hope, who begins to wonder if Liam's heart is being pulled in yet another direction. Steffi, watching all this unfold from her perch at the Cliff House, wonders aloud to Finn whether any family in this town will ever be normal. Finn laughs, but they both know the answer. In Los Angeles, under the Forrester roof, secrets are currency, and the past is never really Gone, but there's beauty in the broken. Strength in the exposed truth, and maybe, just maybe that truth will be the thing that sets them all free just when it feels like the dust is finally beginning to settle in the wake of the devastating DNA results. A new bombshell detonates in the most unexpected way, threatening to derail every fragile reconciliation and newfound alliance forming in the wake of truth. The next episode opens not with peace but with a storm. Daphne, still emotionally reeling from learning that Carter is her half-brother and Bill Spencer is her father, receives a mysterious envelope slipped under her a married couple door during the night. She opens it, hesitantly thinking it might be a letter from Carter or maybe a gesture from Brooke or Katie, something meant to offer comfort. Instead, it's a photo, an old photo, grainy but unmistakable, of her mother standing beside a young Ridge Forrester, both laughing intimately, with a handwritten caption on the back, "What we didn't tell them." Daphne's hands shake as she flips through more photos in the envelope, pictures of her mother and Ridge over time, including one that makes her heart stop. A hospital room, her mother in a gown, Ridge holding her hand, and a baby carrier beside the bed. Daphne realizes with horror that the timeline she just accepted as truth, Bill being her father, may not be the end of the story at all. She rushes to Brooke's house, distraught, the envelope clutched in her hands like it's on fire. "I don't think Bill is my father after all," she gasps. And the world stops again. Brooke, who had only just begun to believe that she and Ridge were finding their way back to one another, feels her stomach drop. She looks at the photos and instantly recognizes Ridge's younger self standing beside a woman he never once mentioned. "What is this, Ridge?" she demands later, shoving the envelope into his hands. Ridge stares at the photos with stunned silence and then utters the words that will shatter everything. "I think that baby might be mine." That's all it takes for the entire Forrester-Logan-Spencer ecosystem to implode yet again. Suddenly, the DNA test is called into question. Was it tampered with? Inaccurate? Was Bill fed false information for reasons still unknown? As whispers of a second more advanced DNA test begins circulating, everyone starts questioning their own memories, relationships, and truths. Ridge becomes a man on the edge, desperate to find out whether Daphne could actually be his daughter, a possibility that both thrills and terrifies him. For all his flaws, Ridge has always cared deeply about his children. If Daphne is his, he's already failed her once by not knowing, and he won't do it again. Katie, caught in the crossfire, tries to keep Bill grounded, but even he is starting to question everything. "I did the test, I believed it, but what if he murmurs?" Pacing his office as Justin brings him a new set of legal documents related to Daphne's possible inheritance rights. Suddenly, more than just emotions are at stake. Power, money, legacy. The whole empire stands to shift depending on who Daphne truly belongs to. Meanwhile, Hope, caught in the middle of this paternal tug-of-war, starts to notice subtle shifts in Liam's behavior. He's spending more time around Daphne, comforting her, checking on her, making himself available in ways he once only did for Hope. It's not romantic yet, but there's an emotional intimacy growing, and Hope can feel it pulling him away. And while she's trying to be the bigger person, she can't ignore the sting of watching Liam console another woman when she's the one who stood by him through his illness and heartbreak. But the real shocker comes at the end of the next episode, in a twist that no one saw coming. Just as Ridge is about to demand a new paternity test, Taylor walks in holding her phone, pale-faced, visibly shaken. "I got a call," she announces to the gathered family at Forrester Mansion, "from someone at the clinic, someone I trusted once." She hesitates. Daphne's mother. "She wasn't just a fling for Ridge. She was one of my patients." "Guests fill the room." "You what?" Brooke snaps, stunned. Taylor explains slowly, cautiously, "Years ago, when she was still practicing. Daphne's mother had come to her in emotional distress, suffering from postpartum anxiety. She never named the father. Taylor kept the sessions confidential, never suspecting Ridge could have been the man in question. Until now, she wanted to protect the father. Taylor says, whoever he was. But now I think she wanted to protect Ridge. That admission sends Brooke into a tailspin, and Ridge is too stunned to speak. What began as a buried affair has become something much deeper, a secret therapy case, a baby born in shadows, and now a family tree with no clear root. The last 5 minutes of the episode are pure fire. Daphne, overwhelmed and unable to breathe under the weight of not one but two potential fathers, runs out into the night. Carter follows her, so does Bill. And then Rich. It's pouring rain, classic soap opera style, as they all converge at the garden terrace overlooking the beach. Words fly, tempers flare. Carter begs for calm. Bill accuses Ridge of stealing everything, including possibly his own daughter. Ridge counters with, you walked away from her mother, Bill. I may have been the one who stayed. Daphne sobs, begging them to stop crying out. I don't care about the money or the name, I just want to know who I am. And then, almost poetically, it's Brooke who steps into the storm, grabs Daphne by the shoulders, and says, no matter who your father is, you're part of this family. Now you don't have to choose between them. Let them fight if they must, but you don't have to let it define you. It's a